For years, I called myself a procrastination coach, not because I had some sort of magic productivity hack, but because almost everyone who came to work with me was stuck on something. They had a goal, they knew what they needed to do to get to that goal, and they weren't doing it. And they had no idea why they weren't. So today I'm going to tell you what I told them. You're not undisciplined, you're not lazy, you're not somehow broken. It's just your subconscious doing exactly what it's there to do, which is to keep you safe. So once you see that, everything you know about how to stop procrastinating changes. This is EFT Breakthroughs. I'm Nancy Linnerooth. Let's talk. So many clients come to me because they're not taking the action that's going to get them the business and the life that they want. And this can happen in each of the MVP areas that I work on with them, whether it's mindset or visibility or profitability. There can be a block in any one of those, or all of them for that matter, that will cause you to procrastinate. So look, I have a bit to say about procrastination here. First of all, I want you to know, if you're asking, why am I procrastinating? Well, you procrastinate because your subconscious is trying to protect you. Okay? And we all do this. We internalize rules and beliefs and fears from early days, from the very beginning, basically, that keep us safe, keep us loved and protected, and at its most basic level, keep us alive. We all need this. This is not something that's gone wrong. You need to know that if the stove is red, you don't touch it, right? Because you don't want to get burnt. Okay, that's one way to learn a fear of a hot stove top or something. So you've internalized these rules to keep you alive, and they're working, and your subconscious knows that they're working because you're alive now, right? And that means, according to your subconscious, you shouldn't change anything that you're doing now. So then, when you consciously say to yourself, well, I want to make more money, or I really need to get my book out, or whatever it is, you try to take the action that consciously you know you need to do to grow your business. You end up triggering one of those subconscious blocks, and it stops you. And so there's two main ways I've found that procrastination shows up for my clients. It can either be avoiding a specific action, or it can be avoiding taking any action at all on something important, like a bigger project. Okay, so let's start with the first one. So if you're asking yourself, why am I avoiding a specific action? You might realize, well, I have no trouble doing all the rest of the things that I need to do for my business, but there's this one thing I'm not doing. Why is that? Well, it's because your subconscious mind has learned that to stay safe, to stay loved, to say, okay, you have to avoid that one thing. Okay, so we'll take an example from each one of the MVP areas. So to start with mindset, you might be avoiding hiring someone. You know, you've been a solo all this time, and now it's time to hire someone. And any number of blocks could be getting in the way there. A mindset block might be a belief that you wouldn't be a good manager. Or you could have an old rule that says you have to work hard to be worthy. Or you could have some fear around letting go of control. So, and as long as you never hire anyone, you'll continue to have to work hard. You won't have to manage anybody. You'll be totally in control of everything, right? And your subconscious will be satisfied because, hey, you're continuing the way you're doing, and you're not having that problem with that managing or being in control or working hard, right? And it's going to do that even if you're consciously really frustrated with yourself for not getting the ad out or networking to find the right person. Okay, that's mindset. What about visibility? Well, this is a common one. What if you're not doing public speaking? That's an easy one. For that matter, it's the biggest phobia I think we have in the Western world. No public speaking for us. So honestly, usually we just have that sort of, oh, well, it's just because public speaking. I'm afraid of it. It's common, so I don't need to look deeper on that. But there's any number of visibility blocks that could be causing that. Maybe you have a belief that you'll be criticized or made fun of if you're more visible. And public speaking, well, what's more visible than that? And that could come from, I don't know, your sixth grade and you were going to be giving a book report at school and the kids laughed. And your subconscious says, well, we're never doing that again. Nothing that's going to put you up in front of people where you could get laughed at. So there you go. Subconscious block that needs to be changed. Maybe you have a belief that says no one will see you as an expert. This is a common one for women. And if you've got that one of the telltale signs is that you're always feeling like you need to go get another certificate, get another training, get another degree. But the truth is, no amount of letters behind your name will ever be enough if you have this belief that no one's going to see me as an expert. Because consciously you're saying, well, I'll become the expert by getting all these trainings and being able to show what I've learned. But the rule is still playing. No one will see me as an expert. No one will see me as an expert. No one will see me as an expert. And so you keep backing off of doing the public speaking, saying, I guess I just need some more trainings. Okay. Maybe your subconscious block doesn't make you avoid all speaking, just speaking in specific situations. This happens a lot of different ways. I had one client who had no trouble at all speaking in front of groups. That didn't trigger her. But if she needed to go speak to male authority figures, she basically clammed up. And this went back to a fear she had growing up with a father who was, let's just say, very critical. And so now, faced with a male authority figure, just speaking to them, her mind can go blank. It could she could end up not being able to speak well. She's been flushed and all, and that was how it was before we worked on it. And I had another client who was a star. She would go on stages and people loved to hear her talk. And she was great at it. She worked at it. She'd gotten really good at it. But there was one thing that would happen that would cause her to choke up. Whenever she went to make an offer from the stage, which was a big reason to be on the stage, right? She'd go to make her offer and she'd just kind of, her throat would close up. Sometimes she'd lose her voice. It was really interesting. And this one didn't go back to childhood. It just went back a few years to when she had started her speaking career. And an audience member had criticized her when she made her offer. So her subconscious said, well, we're never going to let you have that again. So just don't make the offer. You can do everything else. That's safe, not the offer. So we had to work on that. Another area that you might see is profitability. In fact, pretty much everyone has profitability blocks, as far as I can tell. Anyway, here's a common one that can cause procrastination in a specific area, where if you find yourself unable to look at your numbers, that could be what's your revenue this month, what are the bills, working on your taxes, anything about your money situation, the numbers there. Like the rest of your business, you can be an absolute whiz at, and you just do all of those things. But when it comes time to look at the numbers, you can't bring yourself to do it, or you really struggle to push yourself to do it. Well, you might have internalized a message that you're not good with money, and this is related, but it is different. You might have internalized the message that you're not good with math, and it's like, well, obviously, money involves numbers. Numbers are math, and therefore I can't do it. So whenever it comes time to, say, work on your taxes, it just hurts. According to your subconscious, you're going to screw it up. So it's better if you just don't even look at the numbers. And so you avoid it, and you procrastinate until you change that. So look, I could go on for days about the kinds of blocks to specific actions that can cause procrastination in each one of those MVP areas, and some others as well. But what if you're asking, why am I procrastinating in general? So this is, again, your subconscious mind saying that to stay safe, to stay loved and okay, you cannot move forward on like a big project, let's say, that you procrastinated. And that can be up to and including starting a business that you wanted to do for years. I mean, that's a pretty big project, but let's take a simpler example. Let's say you want to expand into a new area in your industry and you're not doing it. So you want to figure out what's causing you to procrastinate. Well, let's just say a good way to figure that out is to think about what would happen if you actually took the actions. All right. So you want to expand into this new industry, this new area in your industry, and you've got a plan for that. Look, you've got a great idea to create a program that you will offer. You've got a plan to write a book to showcase your expertise in that area. And you're excited to do some market research to find out what people would actually buy. Okay, 3 big things you can dive into and get going on any second now. And you cannot bring yourself to get started on any of it. Every day you start with good intentions to do it, and then you find your mind going blank. So you go for a walk to gather your thoughts, and the next thing you know, the day is gone. Or you work really hard on everything else. I call this procrastination by laundry. And you could be working in your business. I'm not saying you're avoiding business altogether. You could be doing everything in your business except working on that new area that you really want to grow into. Okay. You can use the MVP framework here to uncover these possible blocks. So let's start with mindset. You're thinking about what would happen if you took the actions. It's going to give you clues. Let's say if you think about what could go wrong, if that's the first thing, you're like, well, if I do this thing, it may not work. You might have an obvious mindset block around the idea that failing would hurt your identity. So if I give it my all and it flops, then that means I'm a failure. And your subconscious is going to protect you from that. So better not to try in the first place. Okay. But I have to say more likely is what would happen if you succeeded. That's usually where these blocks are, I'll tell you. So it could be, if we stick with the identity piece, it could be that your current identity won't allow you to have that kind of success. An obvious example would be maybe you're told early on that you're not good enough. So how could I possibly be successful, right? Or that no one will listen to you. A lot of women get that one. So if they aren't going to listen to me, why would I bother to get my book out, get out there? Or maybe you were told or shown somehow that you're an artist, not a business person. It's some sort of message that says that success is not for you. So you've got the success that you can have already, but you can't move into this new one and have bigger success. That's not for you. And any of these blocks that I've just talked about can prevent you from working on the big project, on any of the pieces of the big project or the big project in general. All right, well, let's say it's visibility. So let's say, same example. If your new program and your finished book are successful, well, this might lead you to doing something like speaking more. Actually, getting the book out in a bigger way could lead to some blocks here that you're going to be more talked about in the industry. People are going to read what you wrote and they're going to know more about you. And if you have a subconscious fear that says, if you're more visible, people will criticize you, your subconscious will shut that down. It'll keep you from getting out there, moving forward by procrastinating the whole darn thing. And then there's profitability. Oh, there's so many possible blocks for profitability blocks that could be causing this generalized procrastination. For example, if you succeed, maybe you have a fear that making so much money, the kind of money that you could see from being in this industry, this expanded area, that additional money will cause you to outgrow someone, like your spouse. So if you take action on that big project, that's actually a threat to your marriage. Or It could be that you've got some internalized rule about loyalty. If you're more successful, if you make more money, you'll be disloyal to someone important in your life. Often that's a parent, but I've seen it in other ways too. I had a client who kept her revenues low because of this rule that she'd be disloyal to a sister who had died when they were both kids. If she succeeded now, if she made lots of money, that would be disloyal to her sister. I had another client, this was the most unusual one, I would say, who had a loyalty issue, a rule around not making so much money that she would somehow outgrow the blue-collar community where she grew up, somehow show them up. She was supposed to stay at a certain level, not make a lot more money. Any internalized beliefs or rules or fears like these would stop you cold, whether by having you avoid something specific or by procrastinating generally, like we've talked about. Now, your blocks are not conscious, right? So you're not likely to realize that those blocks are the cause of the procrastination. Not if you're not looking for them. More likely what you'll do is try to make sense of what you're doing or not doing logically. And that's where some of this unpleasantness can come up, let's just say. You might ask yourself, well, am I procrastinating because I'm lazy, because I'm not disciplined, because I lack willpower? And now you know the answer is no. Okay? You're not lazy, you're not undisciplined, you don't have too little willpower, you're not somehow a bad person. You're just getting stopped by some outdated programming that's in your subconscious and you're not even aware of it. Okay, a little more detailed might be, well, maybe I'm procrastinating because I'm a bad speaker, a bad business person, or a bad whatever that thing is that I'm avoiding. But not at all. Look, you just internalize these ways to act and be when you were younger, and they no longer fit who you are now. So they're getting in the way of becoming that better speaker or business person or whatever you are, the becoming as good as you can be, as you're capable of being. Well, am I procrastinating because I'm stupid? You know, I've heard this one. I know this thing that I want to do. I know what I want to have. I know how to get there, and I still don't do it. There's something going wrong. I must be stupid. No. Actually, procrastination is a brilliant strategy for your subconscious to keep you safe. Think about it. If you don't take any action, nothing will change. You'll keep living the way you live now, right? And according to your subconscious, since you're alive now, it's doing its job. And it's going to keep you alive by keeping you stuck exactly where you are. No matter how uncomfortable being stuck feels to you consciously, according to your subconscious, that's what you need to do to stay safe, stay alive. So procrastination is the perfect tool to keep you right where you are. Isn't your subconscious clever? Okay. All right, one more question you might be saying. So Nancy, how do I stop procrastinating? Well, you have to uncover those blocks, those rules and fears and beliefs that are in your subconscious now, and then update your mindset to what is true for you now. So these are old blocks from the past. You learned a whole lot since then. You just need to release the stuff that's in your subconscious so that you can live from the conscious knowledge that you have. And the best way I know to do that is to tap on those blocks to release them. If you'd like some help with that, just reach out. We'll set up a free call. Then we'll talk about what's going on with you, what your goals are in your business, and what's been working and what's been getting in the way. And we'll see if there's a fit with what I do. You can schedule that call at unblockresults.com/contact. Okay? Happy tapping.